Hello, it's time for the weekly video, and it's quick and more unplanned than ever this week because I didn't really get anything this week. I just received this latest release of the Michelle Yeoh film. I am looking forward to watching that whenever I get round to it, which, as you know, could be by 2025, could be later than that. That will be something I look forward to anyway. I'd like to make a block of time this year for Michelle Yeoh films. I've mentioned before the Shaw Brothers sets. I've got loads of classic martial arts movies that have been released lately by the likes of Arrow and Eureka, some 88 film stuff that I really like to sit down there and watch. I don't have to do any kind of automated draw, any number randomizer for the little competition I mentioned last week, because I think it was Name the Stars. The person who commented on the YouTube video, the first person to comment, was the person who put themselves forward and mentioned a couple of Sidney Poitier titles. So you have won Name the Stars. The other person who commented was a friend of the show, Bruce, and he specifically said he would kind of rather see someone else win the prize, so he wasn't entering himself in the draw. Thank you very much, Bruce. Name the Stars wins. So you get The Frighteners, which is it's a perfectly good disc. It's a great film, I think. It's got some fun extras on there, good stuff. Patton, which I have a doubler of, and the standard edition of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. As well as, you know what, because you were nice enough to mention a title or two and actually join in the fun, I have this sort of, I mean, it's called a collector's edition, but it's a standard edition of Event Horizon, a horror film I think is really pretty great. So that's the 4 movies. What I hope to do is get some decent packaging for them and post them off to you by the weekend, I hope. Apologies, I probably won't be able to get to a post office any earlier, but I'll definitely see what I can do. If you can email us just at raidersofthepodcast@gmail.com. That's raidersofthepodcast@gmail.com. Just drop us a line there with your details to receive the prize. Or if you know me on Facebook, if you're there under a different name, just message me on Facebook. Hi, it's so-and-so from the YouTube video. Here are my details. And I will get to that as soon as I can. It's mainly, as I said, I don't think I have the right packaging. So I want to make sure I package them properly, and then I'll just get them labelled and get them sent off to you at the post office. I have some odd boxes dotted around, so I may have something to keep them protected. Thank you. For people who didn't join in, I would encourage you to keep your eyes open for anything that may appear in the future. I would encourage people to always join in, because there are sometimes little extra bits that do end up in a prize. I know it's few and far between. I know it is just for UK people. I just can't post internationally. I can't arrange things for that. So at the moment, we are biased towards the UK when I'm doing the YouTube competitions. I hope you tuned in to the episode just released at the weekend, where we discussed Golden Arm and Putney Swope. 2 movies that I think gave us a bit more to discuss than we maybe initially thought. I think there's a bit more to say about Putney Swope in that conversation, but that's not to dismiss Golden Arm. I certainly think they were interesting films, rather than both being, you know, maybe great or very good. Or you'll have to listen. I'm not spoiling it, but there's some interesting conversation about the titles, and you can find out if there was a clear winner between the two. The special that is coming up, that will be this week. It was picked by Tyler, and it's going to be water-based features. So we are watching Proteus, we're watching The Rift, and we are watching, what's the other one again? yeah, Underwater. I was very nice to Tyler and picked Underwater. So I'd imagine a lot of people have seen Underwater. If you haven't, you've got time to maybe give it a rewatch. You've got time to give it a watch. If you have, maybe give it a rewatch. I've seen it once before. I'm going to rewatch it and maybe take a few notes this time. I've not seen Proteus and I've not seen The Rift, so I don't know what to expect from either of those. That feels to me like I've almost completed the set. I'd seen The Abyss, seen Leviathan once, but again, I think I need to rewatch that. I really liked Deep Star 6. There's, of course, Humanoids from the Deep. I think that was that late 80s? Or was it early 90s? I'm sure there are more that I'm not thinking of immediately, but there was a passage of time, as I'm sure you know, when there were quite a few released or trying to be released to sort of get in on the action that was being made by The Abyss, or the hype that was building, because surprisingly a James Cameron movie was getting released and there was hype building. But if you have any underwater movies that are favourites of yours, let us know. If you've got any little gems that you don't think people mention enough, let us know. Who knows, this is an underwater special, but there may be films that you bring to our attention that we look at and then we think, actually, I think I'll just bring that to the podcast some other time. I know that I've got Creature. I've got Creature somewhere. Coincidentally, I just watched Shockwaves for the first time. That's on Prime Video here in the UK, and I'd never before watched the film about water-dwelling Nazi zombies. Who knew? I thought it would be right on my street, and I should have gotten to it a lot sooner, because it also was a small role for Peter Cushing. And yeah, first time watch, enjoyed it, because it's a film that features underwater dwelling Nazi zombies and a small role for Peter Cushing. So that was really good. It'll be interesting to see how the conversation flows, no pun intended, with our underwater special. What other movies we might reference, whether we do reference other movies at all. So that'll be fun. So yeah, if you drop any titles, I'll bear them in mind. Maybe I'll get some extra homework credit this week and fit in some more. It's very unlikely. I have a very busy schedule. But again, who knows? I think that's it. The only other thing I would say is Pride is on Netflix, which is a film from, I'm going to say 2014. And I watched it the weekend. It was about the lesbian and gay support the minors, basically charity group fundraiser. This happened in the mid-80s with the a large part of the gay community supporting the cause of the minors and helping to fundraise to help them buy food parcels, to help them run vehicles to and from picket lines, etc. It's really good. People I've spoken to who have seen it have also really enjoyed it. So I am recommending that to you. Pride on Netflix at the moment. Who knows when it will disappear. I also managed to buy it a year or two ago on iTunes for, I'm sure it was only a few pounds. So if you don't catch it on Netflix, don't let the fact that it disappears from a streaming service rule out your option to ever see a film. We all rely on streaming services a bit too much in terms of, you know, you mention a film and people say, oh, is it on Netflix? Is it on Prime Video? I mean, sometimes if you've got the money, it might be in a charity shop for £1 or £2, or it might just be available online for £1 or £2 for a rental. If you normally just be buying a coffee with that money or some treats, then treat yourself to a little movie. If you don't have that money, obviously don't defer it until later. You know, put it out of your mind. Wait until it's available on some of the free services where you might catch things. There's some I think there are some films on all four. I was looking again through the BBC iPlayer, and don't forget, if you are struggling just now and you maybe can't afford some streaming services, or it's been a while since you've watched a good movie, check out the iPlayer selection. If you pay for a TV license, there's actually a good selection of films on there. Not features, but I watched the shorts for Wallace and Gromit last week as well. Thought I would revisit the Wallace and Gromit adventures. Had a great time. Those are the short films that are all on iPlayer. They don't have Curse of the Were-Rabbit. But then I was looking through the films available, and there was lots of good stuff there. So times are tough. We're going to be going through this bleak economic landscape for quite some time, I think. Let's all get through it together. We always want to keep the podcast free, obviously. Nobody would pay to listen to our crap. And we hope that once a week, whenever you get to listen to little snippets of our nonsense, that you enjoy some of the conversation. We hope that maybe we direct people towards the occasional good little film. And, we hope you keep tuning in. Like and subscribe, do all that stuff. Email us at raidersofthepodcast@gmail.com with suggestions as well. And feedback is always welcome. That's it for this week. I'll see you next week. Bye.